Hello, today I'm going to talk about cells. So we are starting our cells unit. And so as you guys already know, cells are the basic unit of life. So a cell is the smallest unit of life, and it's often called the building blocks of life. So make sure you are completing your notes organizer as you go through this video. So I'm just going to kind of go through some important discoveries in the field of cells. So in 1665, Robert Hooke looked at cork under the microscope, and he coined the term cellulate, or he gave cells their name. In 1683, Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he was the first person to look at a cell under the microscope. He was the first to view living organisms under the microscope. In 1838, Matthias Schindlin, he studied plants, and he concluded that all plants are made of cells. And in 1839, Theodor Schwann, he studied animals. He concluded that all animals are made of cells. So both of these scientists were important in formulating the cell theory. And these are the three parts of the cell theory. So the first part is that all living things are composed of one or more cells. The second part is that cells are the basic unit of structure of all living things. And then the last part of the cell theory is that cells come from pre-existing cells. So make sure you had recorded that for number 4. Okay, so a prokaryote, it's a cell that has no nucleus. So a lot of times I like to tell students prokaryotes have no nucleus. And so which organisms have prokaryotic cells? Do you guys know what organism that is being shown in the on the screen? Okay, so that's a bacteria cell. So for number 6, the only prokaryotic organism is bacteria. All other organisms on Earth are eukaryotes. And a eukaryote is a cell type that has a true nucleus, and it has membrane-bound organelles. And so which organisms are eukaryotes? Animal cells and plant cells. And then fungi and protists, those are also eukaryotes. All right, so we're going to talk more about the endosymbiotic theory when we get into our organisms unit and we learn more about viruses. But basically, the endosymbiotic theory is a theory that explains the origin of eukaryotic cells. And basically, in this theory, scientists believe that smaller prokaryotes were engulfed by larger prokaryotes, and they started living symbiotically, and that over time, that cell became what we now know as eukaryotic cells. And there's evidence that supports this theory. We'll get more into that later on in the semester. All right, so unicellular. Unicellular is an organism that is made up of a single cell. So all bacteria are unicellular. Some protists and some fungi are unicellular. Multicellular are organisms that are made up of many cells. And are multicellular organisms made up of prokaryotic or eukaryotic cells? So most multicellular organisms, or all multicellular organisms, are eukaryotic. So protists, some fungi, all plants and all animals are multicellular. All right, so we're talking about cells type. So cell structure is different from one organism to another. Prokaryotic versus eukaryotic. Bacteria cell versus plant cell versus animal cell. And so you guys will use this information that I'm about to go over to fill out number 11. So a bacteria cell, make sure you guys identify the defining characteristics. Bacteria cells, they are prokaryotes, like we've already said. They have no nucleus. They have no membrane-bound organelles. Their DNA is just free-floating. They do have a cell wall. Plant cells, they have a cell wall, they contain chloroplasts, they have a large central vacuole, and they are eukaryotic. And animal cells have a cell membrane that surrounds the cell. They have lysosomes, and they are eukaryotic cells. All right, so an organelle. An organelle is a structure in a cell that has a specific function. So can you guys name some of these organelles from this diagram? You guys learned about this back in 7th grade. Can you name some? All right, so some examples of organelles are mitochondria, nucleus, of course, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes. So we're going to get into more details about the different kinds of organelles. All right, the nucleus. So make sure you guys are filling out number 13, the chart. So the nucleus is the control center of the cell. It contains DNA. It's like the brain of the cell. And the nucleus is only found in animal cells and plant cells. Remember, only eukaryotic cells have a nucleus. The cell membrane is a semi-permeable double layer that surrounds the cell. So the cell membrane controls what goes in and out of the cell. It's like the bouncer of the cell, and it is found in all cells. So all cells, plants, animals, bacteria, they all have a cell membrane. Do you guys know what semi-permeable mean? All right, so semi-permeable just means that it allows certain materials in while keeping certain materials out. So it's halfway permeable. Semi means half, and permeable means to absorb, and so it doesn't just let anything into the cell. It is selective, picky. All right, the next organelle is the cell wall, and in plants, the cell wall is made up of cellulose. It provides the cell with structure and support, and cell walls are found in plants and bacteria cells. Animal cells don't have cell walls, and plant cells and bacteria cells, they also have cell membranes. So the cell wall surrounds the cell membrane in those cells. Okay, chloroplasts. So chloroplasts are only found in plant cells, and chloroplast contains a pigment called chlorophyll, and that pigment gives plants their green color. Chloroplast is the site of photosynthesis, and remember we learned about photosynthesis. We'll learn more details about photosynthesis later on, but photosynthesis is the process in which plants, they convert energy from the sun to make their food, which is glucose. All right, so a cytoskeleton is a cell skeleton. Cyto means cell, and so it is it provides support and structure for the cell, and the cytoskeletons are found in plant cells, in animal cells, and in bacteria cells. All right, and then the endoplasmic reticulum, the ER, it carries proteins and other materials from one part of the cell to another part. It's like the cell highway. And you have two types of ER. You have rough ER and smooth ER. The smooth type does not have any ribosomes attached. The rough has ribosomes attached. And the Golgi, and that organelle is found in only animals and plant cells. The Golgi apparatus is like a post office of the cell, so it packages and transport materials out of the cell, and Golgi apparatus is found only in plants and animals. It's membrane-bound organelles. So remember, bacteria cells don't have any membrane-bound organelles. All right, lysosomes. Lysosomes contain digestive enzymes, and they're used to break down warm parts and waste products So like lysosomes are like the garbage trucks of the cells. They get rid of waste. They're found only in animal cells. And the mitochondria, the mighty mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It provides energy for the cell. It's the site of cellular respiration, and cellular respiration is the process in which food is broken down into energy. And we're going to learn more about cellular respiration later on. All right, and then ribosomes and mitochondria is found in both plant and animal cells. Ribosomes are really small grain-like organelles. They produce proteins. They can be found freely, free-floating in the cytoplasm or attached to the ER. And ribosomes are found in all cells, bacteria, animal, and plant cells. The vacuole is a membrane-bound organelle, and it's used for storage. And it's found in both plant and animal cells. But in the plant cell, plants have one large central vacuole, and animal cells have many small vacuoles. And so what is a plant like when its vacuoles start to empty? So plants like to have their vacuoles filled up with water. When their vacuoles start to empty, the plants start to look like they're dying. They look wilted. And so when you go to the supermarket, you'll see how they spray water on the produce. And that's so that the produce will look nice and fresh and plump and healthy, because those plant cells, they like to have their vacuoles filled up with water. All right, and then cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the gel-like substance in cells, and it's constantly moving. It's used for transporting materials. So that is the last organelle, and cytoplasm is found in all cells. So make sure you have filled out your notes organizer. If you need to go back, go back. If you need to pause, make sure you pause. If you have questions, let us know. And take care.